Buddy Mo here, and today I'm bringing you guys another episode of Meta Monday, except it's going to be kind of different today. It's basically going to be a patch rundown. If you guys noticed, I didn't put out a Meta Monday yesterday, and that's because there was no point. I didn't see a point in putting out a Meta Monday when we're literally getting a brand new patch with a bunch of changes and a bunch of significant changes in 2 days from Monday, so tomorrow. So I didn't really see a point in saying like, oh, Kais is still really good and Bard Alawi still really good. If like both of those decks are getting super nerfed tomorrow and probably aren't going to be played much after the patch anyways. So instead, I decided to take yesterday off, not post video. Today, post patch notes, and then all this week, basically just post new gameplay videos, deck guides, and then the Sweaty Thursday is going to be extremely important because this is the last chance gauntlet, last chance qualifier. So if you got all of your what I call prime glories. If you got all your prime glories, or you're not masters yet and you're ready to try and qualify for this seasonal gauntlet, this weekend is the gauntlet you really want to show up for. So make sure you show up for my Sweaty Thursday, where I tell you guys what what I would be playing to get ready for this prime glory gauntlet, and then what decks to play for ladder. If you're still, in masters, or you're trying to climb to masters, maybe your gauntlet didn't go so well for you, and you really just you have to hit masters, you have to hit that top 700 spot in order to qualify for seasonals. So yeah, before we get into the Meta Monday, before we get into this patch notes review, I just want to remind you guys that 68% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you could do me a huge favor, click that subscribe button. It'd help me out a lot. Where it's #1 place for competitive content for LoR, as well as join my Discord down below. A bunch of people in there always talking about competitive stuff for Discord. Watch, let me pull it up here for you. Let me pull up my Discord, show you guys like all the things we talk about here. So this is just the Discord lobby general. Everyone's talking about what's going on. This guy hit diamond this was literally yesterday. So they've been tracking progress. There's another person that's in my DMs that they recently hit platinum. So they were in silver last week. We did a coaching session, and since then they've gone all the way up to platinum. So a bunch of cool stuff. That's the #1 place for competitive content for LoR. Everyone's talking about competitive content, all that stuff. So if that's what you're interested in, is competitive LoR content, subscribe here so you don't miss a video, and then go join my Discord so that way you have a place to talk about competitive LoR content and all that type of stuff. That's going to be it for the intro. Let's get into the card. So no intro to this patch. It's literally just card changes, and they kind of explain it a little bit here, like little notes beside each one. But I was also at the roundtable discussion for LOR, so I could kind of go through and talk about any of the changes. Oh, it looks like all the changes aren't here. But talk about some of the changes, like why they were changed, and kind of what they gave us, the reasoning behind some of the changes were, in case they didn't say it here. And then I'll give you my general consensus of like how I thought the patch is, or how I think the patch is going to be, and then what decks are going to be good and bad after the patch. So yeah, Alawi, from 1.6 to 1.5, basically Alawi was too good, hard to interact with her. I don't think Alawi should have been nerfed. Alawi is basically paying for Bard's sins. Alawi was just like an okay unit. She wasn't too strong or really seen much play before Bard came out. Or before she was really paired with Bard, and I think she's kind of just paying for Bard sins. Tentacle Smash, 4 mana, spawn 2. I think this is really strong. I think Tentacle Smash is too broken. We're at the point now where people are putting Tentacle Smash into aggro decks just because it's a good card. Like, it's just a very solid removal spell plus get a unit. It's either like 4 mana kill any like small early game unit, or it's 4 mana kill an early game unit and also have a unit afterwards, like have a 3/1 afterwards. And if you're playing an actual tentacle deck, then this is just like 4 mana kill any unit in the game, basically. Karma's going from 4/3 to a 4/4. She's getting 1 more HP. Basically, they just wanted to make sure you could play Karma. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, basically their reasoning behind this was they wanted to make Karma a card you could actually play on turn 5, and not a card you have to wait or have to play on turn 5 and then have it die to just about anything, like a 2-drop or something. Yeah, to make it basically that, so she lived a little bit longer. Gnar, quality of life buff. Instead of Pokestick going from reduce its cost by 1, you reduce its cost by 2. So if you do have that Pokestick in your hand, you get it for free. Yeah. You get a Pokestick for free. Otherwise, you just get, a Pokestick in hand. So it's just a nice, because, it felt kind of bad if you had a Pokestick in hand. That getting it 1 cheaper is nice, but also just getting a brand new Pokestick is nice. So it's just nice little buff to Gnar. Zillion. So Zillion's champion spell is getting changed from the shitty 7 mana spell, whatever it's called, to Careful Preparation. So Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. His champion spell is just really bad, so they made it really good. All right, Bard, probably the biggest change here is chimes aren't going to start planting until you have 3 mana gems, so until turn 3, basically. So it means you're not going to have like, oh, turn 1, I accidentally drew, like 2 chimes or something and have a 1 mana 4/3, or any crazy, or you're not going to have games where it's just like, oh, oops, my Ari randomly has like a chime on her on turn 2, so now I have a 2 mana 3/3 Ari, and I'm going to win the game now. None of that stuff. So you don't get chimes in your deck until turn 3, which there was a graph that somebody made. Let me find it. Of basically what the new chimes look like. Here it is. So it says chimes over time. So you have 0 chimes, 0 chimes, something like that. Yeah, I don't exactly know how to run this. Yeah, but this is basically showing you stuff. So if you know how to read this, go for it. I don't exactly know how to read it, but it was basically saying that there's a very, very, very small chance of actually hitting chimes. So yeah, very, very sad. Basically, Bard's kind of dead. Bard decks are dead. Cosmic Binding, to kind of compensate for the Bard nerf, they're going to make it, instead of planting 3 chimes, they're planting 6 chimes. Second Skin, instead of being focus speed, it's going to slow speed, which is really needed. I'm not really sure why it was at focus speed to begin with, and everything else that kind of has this effect is at slow speed. If you think about like Victor Spell, and stuff like that, like Victor Spell is at slow speed, so why is this not slow speed? So that's good. Supercharge going from 3 mana to 4 mana, that's good. That means you can't just like play Kaisa on 5 and have Supercharge and do all your crazy, like assuming that your opponent can't interact with whatever you're trying to second skin. At least now it's not, super crazy with the Supercharge. Also, second skin being a slow speed is really important because now you can interact with the unit. So, for instance, if you go to second skin your Valor, then your opponent can Vile Feast the Valor in response, and the second skin is canceled. That's also good because Supercharge is at 4 mana now, so you can be fine just passing into your opponent while they have second skin mana, and if they go for that second skin onto anything, like you don't have to worry about them going, oh, okay, well, now that you passed to me, Supercharge second skin, and basically nothing changed because you still can't kill my Valor, and so I'm still getting all of those things onto my Kaisa, and I'm still killing you. So very, very big buff, or sorry, very big nerf, very big change in the meta here, making it so you can actually interact. If you notice, there's going to be a really consistent pattern in this patch, basically making it so where you can interact more with your opponent. Some of the safe spells are getting taken down. Some of the uninteractive things are getting taken down. Things like Second Skin, we'll see later on. What is it? The attached 2/2 double strike card get nerfed. So a lot of the uninteractive combos are getting nerfed. Hate Spike, going from 2 mana to 1 mana, kill an ally, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit, summon a random husk. So 1 mana. Small buff to Evelyn. I don't know. I think Evelyn's still bad. Harsh Wind's going from 6 mana to 5 mana. This is pretty good to buff like Freljord decks in general, and kind of give more interaction, which is kind of the whole key to this patch. Give more interaction when you're playing a Freljord deck, so better off like frostbiting things, being able to interact with them, make it so they're not just killing you all the time. This is like, I would actually call this overall a nerf because you can't find it from Reggie anymore. From the 2 mana 2/1, what is his name? The 2 mana 2/1 in PNC that gives you a random 6 cost spell. I'm not gonna think of his name. Everyone just calls him Reggie, but he can't find Harsh Winds anymore because Harsh Winds cost 5. So yeah, that's kind of that. I think that's kind of more of a nerf to this card than a buff overall. Because if you're in Freljord, you're probably not playing this card anyways. And now Trundle Timelines or any type of PNC Freljord Timelines isn't going to be able to randomly get a Harsh Wind, so it feels kind of bad. Blighted Ravine says, when I'm summoned, heal your Nexus for 4. Basically, they made it so it doesn't deal Nexus damage anymore. And basically, their reasoning behind this was, that's kind of an old Freljord mechanic. I'm talking way back like in beta times when Avalanche did 2 damage to the face. So they're kind of leaning away from Freljord cards dealing burn damage because there's no real reason for them to deal burn damage. That's not really part of their identity or their play pattern anymore. So it's basically just heal. So you're still going to heal 2. They're just changing it from heal the Nexus 4 to heal the Nexus to 2. And then it's going to deal 2 damage to all units instead of two damage to everything. Because it also makes it awkward of being like, oh, we're thralls and we got these like 2 big thralls out, hit you down to 16, but now you're afraid of Blighted Ravine burning you out. There's no real reason for a control deck to really be threatening burn damage like that, so that's another reason why they took it out. Thralls countdown 8 to countdown 9. You know, kind of a lot of the things holding thralls back got nerfed here. So like Bartolai got nerfed, Kaisa got nerfed. So to kind of be and Zirelli got nerfed, you'll see that later down. So to kind of like be proactive about that, seeing all these thralls counters getting nerfed, they went ahead and nerfed thralls also from countdown 8 to countdown 9. However, if you play this Frozen Thrall on turn 1, it's actually a buff because you can do crazy shit now, and then double it with Talia and you don't have to worry about it popping. Whereas previously, if you played Thrall on turn 1 with countdown 8, if you were to go do a bunch of advances and crazy shit, it would pop on turn 5, and you want to be able to copy it with Talia. Whereas now, you can do all of that, and you get to copy it with Talia on turn 5, and get out like 6 Thralls on turn 6 consistently. But most of the time, it's just a tiny nerf. It won't matter at all. Thralls will still be a very solid tier 1 deck. Alright, PNZ. So Baboon goes down to a 2-1. I'll be honest, I don't think Baboon was the problem. I don't think it being a 3-1 was the problem. I think Flame Chompers being a 0-mana challenger unit is the issue. Yeah, I think the 0-mana challenger unit's probably the bigger issue than it being a 3-1. But Boom 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 being a 3-1 definitely, or going down to a 2-1 definitely helps. It's no longer a Fearsome blocker, no longer trades into a lot of other 2-drops or 3-drops. So it's no longer getting you value and up trading with 3+ cost units, which is what Boom 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 was previously doing. Station Archivist. So now, whenever you picked a spell with Station Archivist, it wouldn't shuffle your deck. So you basically knew what the upcoming draws were. So this is basically a nerf to infinite combo. Whereas if you played Station Archivist and you saw the draw 2, make your cards cost 1 less, you're not going to draw into another one guaranteed because it's going to shuffle away the top 5 cards of your deck. Also, they made it go from a 3-3 to a 3-2. So yeah, it's basically just a nerf to infinite combo. I think Riot really hates infinites. I know the player base really hates infinites. So it's a nice nerf to that, on top of Station Archivist being a little bit too strong, on top of with the Zillion buff up here, where they changed the champion spell. Maybe they were a little bit afraid of Echo Zillion. So for the same reason of not wanting to get, back-to-back Echo rallies, they're going to nerf it here with Station Archivist as well. Ravenblue Conservatory going from countdown 10 to countdown 12. They told us basically they had it countdown 10, and they were afraid of it never popping because they thought this was going to be a good aggro card. They said that having it be countdown 10 was good because aggro wasn't consistently popping it fast enough to be worried about it. Like, you weren't constantly getting it on turn 6 or so. But it turns out that the best version of this card was with things like, TF Annie or Ezreal Annie, where you just play a bunch of cheap cards and skills or spells and skills, and you get, tie bulk on turn 6 consistently, or you draw this by turn, 6 or 7, and you just play it and it automatically counts down for you, and you just get it again on turn 6 or turn 7 anyways. So they wanted to go ahead and help that out there. Kadrigan. So I said it was previously grant an allied dragon challenger, I think is what it was. But now they went ahead and made it so you can grant an ally. It was grant an allied champion or dragon challenger. Well, now it's grant an allied, just any ally, doesn't have to be a champion, challenger, and +1/+1. Basically, they just gave it a really big buff here because dragons kind of suck, and this card's really expensive, and this card kind of sucks. So hopefully this makes it a little bit more playable. I don't really know how playable it'll be, but it'll be interesting. It's definitely a lot better than it previously was. You can give anything challenger now, and it gets +1/+1. That's pretty good. All right, Mark of the Storm going from 2 damage to 3 damage. I'll be honest, this is either going to be a really game-changing buff, or it's not going to matter because Kennen just kind of sucks now that Wayfinder is super nerfed. So, you can't really play Kennen anyways. So they're basically just trying to make Bandle City better, and we'll see that down here with some more changes. They're basically trying to make Bandle City a better region. They kind of overdid it on the nerfs on Bandle City because it was such a toxic region when it first came out. Everyone hated it, that they're going through and they're like rebuffing a lot of Bandle City to try and make it a little bit more playable, a little bit more enticing to play. Starbone. It went from, if you behold a Celestial, create a messenger in your deck. The messenger in your deck and get Celestial allies everywhere +1/+1. Yeah, so it used to say if you behold the messenger, grant Celestial allies everywhere +1/+1. Now it just says if you behold a Celestial, create a messenger in your deck and give Celestial allies +1/+1. So it's basically just a cheap way to give all Celestials +1/+1. If you already contain a Celestial, it's alright. Not very good still, but it's alright. Bloody Business basically goes from reputation. It costs 2, so pretty cool. I think that's very needed. I think this card was alright, but it kind of fits into reputation, could make reputation a lot better. Plus, if you remember the last patch we had, they did a bunch of buffs to LeBlanc and a bunch of buffs to Ashe, trying to push that LeBlanc Ashe, reputation, fairly orthodox archetype. Well, here they're back with more buffs, buffing Bloody Business. So it'd be interesting. Maybe that's enough to push what's it called, reputation over the top. We'll see. I don't think so. Star Shaping goes to heal 5. It's basically a revert. Instead of healing 4, it's to heal 5. It's pretty good. I don't know if it'll matter too much. I think the meta might still be a little too fast. Basically, they're just trying to slow the meta down a lot. Think the games are ending way too fast for them. So fuck you, everyone on Reddit saying, and Twitter saying like, well, Mo, obviously they want the game to be ending on turn 6 and 7, and stop complaining about it being uninteractive, because it's what the developers want. It is the direction of the game, and if you don't like that, you can leave. Fucking obviously it wasn't what the developers want, and obviously it's not the direction they want the end of the game, or they want the game to go to. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to slow it down here. They wouldn't be trying to make it more interactive and slow it down up here. They wouldn't, like, we get more changes down here where they're trying to slow it down and make it more interactive here. Oh, look at what they do. They slowed it down. Oh, they slowed it down, made it more interactive. That's crazy. Go fuck yourself. Like, sometimes people are corrected. The game isn't just perfect, and stop trying to think that LoR is always perfect all the time. Let's see. Risu goes from, or no, this is Thunderfist. Sorry, not Risu. Risu's the next one. So Thunderfist, so more little Yordle buffs, goes from a 3-mana 2/3 to a 3-mana 3/3. And then the other thing gets just 1 HP. Risu goes from a 1/1 to a 1/3, and the Stormcloud gets impact 3 times. So it's a 7/3 with 3 impact. Pretty fine. I don't know. Seems okay. It'd be really cool if the Timelines deck ended up being really good with these, but you only play one Timelines deck, so we'll see. Maybe. Yeah, see, all these changes are aimed to make Bandle City recall package. So basically to make, like, Kennen more playable, to make it better. Dust Petal Dusk, instead of saying, next Nightfall unit, it just says next Nightfall card. So now this buffs things like Pale Cascade, or sorry, this will make like things like Pale Cascade cheaper and the deal 1 damage, drain 1 card cheaper. Stagehand goes from a 4/4 to a 4/2. This is fine. It's basically to make it more interactable, so that way you can like Mystic Shot it, make it die to Avalanche now, makes it a little bit better, or a little bit worse into Thralls, but also that Thralls nerf on top again. So make it a little bit more interactable, a little bit more able to deal with it. The fact this card had 4 HP was hilarious. Defiant Dance going to 5 mana. Yeah, I mean 4 mana completely recall a 5+ mana unit. 4 spell mana. Like 3 spell mana and 1 unit mana to recall 5 unit mana was kind of ridiculous. So big props to them. Plus the Zero really got a huge buff with domination anyways. Traveler goes from a 3/4 to a 4/4. Squeaker goes from a 1/2 to a 2/2. Just nice little, stat buffs. This is like a second buff to Squeaker, by the way. I think it went from a 1/1 to a 2/2. So they're really trying to make this card playable. Mayor goes from 2/2 to a 2/3. This seems fine. It's still the first multi-region you play costs 1 less, so still not going to be too crazy if it was just every multi-region. If they would have reverted Mayor, I think that would have been better. That would have made push Bandle City a lot more to be played, but, but getting it +1 HP is kind of okay. It makes it at least live a little bit longer. Hourglass going from 2 to 3, again, making things more interactable, taking away some of the save spells. Neverglade Collector going from 4 to 5 HP. This is kind of to help Husks, because Evelyn is just so fucking bad. Evelyn is extremely bad, so they're just trying the best they can to help Husks out, so that's what this is for, I would assume. This has potentially some indirect help for Husks. Winding Light lost his Overwhelm, so that's basically it. So it's still a huge threat. It saves at least, you know, like 7 HP, or save 6 HP here from your opponent's side. So if they have a 1-1, they can block it. Again, trying to make it so games aren't ending on turn 6. Papercraft Dragon going from 5 cost to 6 cost. The main thing here is people say like, oh, well, you played it on 6 anyways because you would play like your Renekton or your Ruin Runner on 5 and then play Papercraft on 6. The difference is now you don't have Deny mana available, so you have to go Papercraft on turn 6 with no Deny, which I think is like very important. Battle Bonds goes from 4 mana slow speed to 5 mana burst speed. I don't think this matters. I completely forgot this was even a card, to be honest with you. But Enemy goes from a 4/3 to a 4/4. It's kind of like the PNZ Chump Wumps. Again, just trying to make Vandal City more playable, give it better cards, just solid cards. Scar Mated Reaver goes from a 4 mana 4/5 to 4 mana 4/6. This card's okay. I mean, shout out Rico Rex. He paid someone on Riot to buff an Overwhelm. There has to be at least like one Overwhelm buff every patch for the Rico Rex. We Flex. Twisted Catalyzer getting reverted. I think that's fine. I think Darkness sucks. I think Slow Deck sucks. So trying to bring Slow Decks back into the meta. Cool. So that's all the changes. So now the personal changes, which is cool. We'll just go over one last thing here. Is seasonal tournaments, seasonal champions now get a custom board, a custom card back, and a custom player icon. Actually, this is seasonal competitor. Seasonal competitor, Pinnacle of Glory. Award, yeah. So, yeah, all these things are just for the winners. So if you become a seasonal champion starting this season, you get a custom icon, a card back, and a board, which is very cool, and I think they should have done from the beginning. And also, I'm very salty because, as most of you know, I'm a seasonal champion, and they're not retroactively giving these out. So I'm not going to get one of these really cool boards and card backs and icons, which makes me very salty because these things are sick and I wish I could have one. So I guess I'm just going to have to win another seasonal so I can get the board and card back and icon and all that jazz. So yeah, and other than that, a bunch of bug fixes. Yeah, which is cool. So yeah, so that's all of the changes. That's all of the patches. So basically, we'll just go over what I think is going to be meta, what I think is going to be. We'll go to Runeterra.ar. We'll see what the most recent meta decks are, and we'll talk about which of them I think is staying, which of them I think are going. So Kaisa, I think, is a huge nerf. I think this deck's going to be a lot more fair, but it's not going to be nearly as strong as it is now. If it's played at all, it will be fair. Bartolai, dead. Jin Annie is pretty good. Basically, I nerfed to Stagehand. I think that's it. Lissandra Thralls, still very good. Monkey, literally untouched. Still very good. Azir Aurelia, bad. So, this is the top 6 decks right now. So, yeah, basically, I think we're going to go into a meta where it's literally all aggro decks and all control decks, and you're just going to see which decks come out on top. It's literally just going to be aggro versus control. I think mid-range kind of sucks now. I think they gave slow decks a lot of tools. We might be heading into a control format, or a control meta. We'll see, but I think it's going to be either control or aggro meta. So it'll be very interesting to see. I think Thralls is going to be very good. I think Monkey's going to be very good. I think, what else? I think Jace Heimer, untouched. Jace Heimer is going to be extremely fucking good. So, like, again, Thralls, Jace Heimer is, like, a very solid core to any seasonal lineup. And you go, like, Thralls, Jace Heimer, TF Nami, Thralls, Jace Heimer, Darkness, Thralls, Jace Heimer, Monkey. Like, you can do Thralls and Jace Heimer into really almost any Deep. Deep has had a really big resurgence lately. So, I think with Kaisa out of the meta, a lot of things get brought back in. Because they're taking this uninteractive I win the game on turn 5 deck out of the game. So it'll be really interesting to see what decks show up here. But yeah, that's my take on the new patch. New patch comes out tomorrow. I will have gameplay out tomorrow. I think I'm going to start with Darkness because Darkness looks really sick. So yeah, we're going to start with Darkness probably and get some Darkness gameplay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the patch notes, the Meta Monday. And yeah, again, make sure you're here for Sweaty Thursday because this weekend's very important if you're a Gauntlet player because it is going to be your last chance Gauntlet. And this is also, you only have 1 week now to qualify for seasonals if you're going to do it through ladder. And everybody's going to want a chance. Everyone's going to want to win this sick-ass board and, you know, icon and card back and stuff. So if you want this, make sure you tune in to that Sweaty Thursday on Thursday. That's going to be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.